Good morning. Starting off here, real great article out of Real Clear Wire by Ryan Silverstein. Republicans should use Article 5 to protect our institutions. It's an article I really agree with wholeheartedly. We're going to go into it and a little into the backstory also. Be sure to hit the subscribe and like, and let's get started. Republicans should use Article 5 to protect our institutions. In November, President Trump and Republicans won a broad mandate to govern. Consequently, Democrats are now seeking refuge in traditions and institutions they once sought to destroy: the Senate filibuster and courts of law. President Trump and Republicans should seize this opportunity to use Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution to protect these institutions for generations to come. I completely agree. The filibuster has been used many times to protect the country from just radical legislation. I can remember many times seeing Rand Paul, just in the last few years, do a couple of different filibusters. Ted Cruz did a filibuster. The Democrats have done filibusters. The filibuster is there to protect the country. I completely agree it should be made into law. That I've never understood when they allowed Senator Reid from Nevada to make a simple majority, all that was required to pass a bill. Things went to hell in a handbasket since then. It was a lot easier to pass things. I think getting rid of the filibuster would be absolutely catastrophic. It would be absolutely catastrophic. And we need to enshrine that in law. Not in law, in the Constitution, so it can no longer be touched. Secondly, how many times in my lifetime, how many times in your lifetime have the liberals run to the media complaining about the Supreme Court when they get a ruling they don't like? We need to expand the court. It needs to be X amount of people. We need to make sure that the Supreme Court isn't as radical. And then when they say something that they like, you never hear a peep from them. When the right gets a ruling that they don't like, do you hear any of them running to the media saying, we got to expand the Supreme Court? It has to blah, blah, blah. Oh, God, it's so frustrating having to watch these people do the same thing over and over again. Absolutely a constitutional amendment enshrining that the Supreme Court should be 9. I agree with. I am absolutely for. The Republicans took 31 states in this last election and control 26 state legislatures. I completely agree with what this column says, that pressure should be brought, a movement should be brought for a convention of states. We absolutely need to put these into the Constitution. There's a couple other things, such as term limits. Now, I know that getting these people to agree to term limits will be just a little hard, But we're a populist country, moving more towards populist positions, and I think that is a perfectly reasonable position. 2, maybe 3 terms for a senator. That's a 6-year term, so 12 to 18 years maximum. We already have a term limit for the President of the United States. Why are these people any better? As far as Congress goes, it's every 2 years. I think it should match the senator. 12 to 18 max. So that would be 6 to 9 runs. That's it. Term limits. Probably even less. And I'm sure that anyone else watching this would say a lot less. But 9 Supreme Court justices, that seems fair to me. That's an odd number. You are more likely to get a verdict out of that, absolutely. 9 seems fair. And the 60 votes to kill a filibuster. I'm absolutely for that too. We have to enshrine certain things in the Constitution now, because we cannot rely on the ebb and flow of people to have the right instinct to protect these institutions. You're going to, as soon as you have power with the left, they would absolutely, oh my gosh, they would absolutely load the Supreme Court. You know they would load the Supreme Court. They would get rid of the filibuster. It would be a simple majority, 51 vote majority to pass. Anything and everything could be unstoppable. It basically would be just another version of the House. Why have a Senate at that point? Longer debates. At that point, you're literally another version of the House. The Senate is supposed to be something different. The greatest debate body in the history of the world or something like that. Some garbage like that. No. That needs to be enshrined. And getting back to the Supreme Court justices. After a certain decision was made recently, isn't it obvious that there needs to be safeguards? There have got to be guardrails, safeguards, whatever you want to call it, on the number of Supreme Court justices we can have. They would expand this, that we would be Venezuela. We were this close to being Venezuela. You all know it. You all know it. This is a great piece. I'm going to be sure to link it in here so everyone can read it. It goes through everything I've discussed. The president has the momentum right now. He has the mandate. And that's the thing. He's going to have this mandate for a very short period of time. The media is going to do everything they can to yank it away from him. He needs to use this bully pulpit, needs to use this mandate given to him by the people to move things like this forward for long-term success. Putting another justice or two on the Supreme Court would be great. I anticipate that to actually happen. But putting something like this forward right away in the first 100 days as a top-tier item, publicity, everything, you name it. Something like this needs to be done. Amendment for the filibuster to preserve the filibuster. Amendment to outline permanently the Supreme Court. The president has the momentum. He has the mandate. He needs to use the bully pulpit to do so. But that's all I got so far. I'll be back with another one in a little while. I do thank you, and I do appreciate you for watching. Thank you very much.